Thank you so much for coming. And thank you on behalf of the Common Glen, get this right, Orleans Wood Community Association Environmental Committee. That's who's put this together, in case you're wondering. So we really appreciate you coming, especially being a cold January night where we're close to record low temperatures. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker, Stephan Meloche. Right, close
That's
enough?
good, yeah.
Connor, get this pronunciation right.
So enough.
Renouf.
You got it.
I got it?
You got it.
Great. So thank you for coming. It's great to have you here. I'm going to give you some information about them. So Connor's position is an outreach and communications coordinator with climate change and resiliency services at the City of Ottawa. And Connor has 8 years of experience with project and program management. Connor joined the City of Ottawa in 2022, and he's involved in the Rain Ready program, which you'll hear about tonight, and community climate resiliency. So this is Connor. I'll also introduce Stephan. Stephan Meloche is the Outreach and Logistics Lead, Project Lead at EnviroCentre. I'll let you explain a bit more about EnviroCentre.
Yeah, of course.
So Connor and Stephan work closely together for the Rain Ready program. And the goal of the Rain Ready program is to help residents take steps to protect their properties against the impacts of, the harmful impacts of stormwater runoff. And as well, I think Stephan's going to talk about the new rain gardens here at Roy Hobbs and Pierre Rock as well.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
And just kind of the process of, how we pick the location and right through to the planting and the big celebration after.
Okay, great, good. Which will be nice on a wintry night to hear all about the gardens. So,
Yeah.
so
Can remember that warm day.
that
or
warm
just-
day,
Yeah.
September, I think it was. Right? It was a great experience. It was fun. So thank you for coming again. Thank you, and welcome to our speakers.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. I'll start us off here, and then Stephan will jump in later.
Sounds
So,
Do you want us to use the microphone?
If you'd like, sure.
I think it's a good idea to use
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You just need to turn it on, but otherwise you're good.
how's this? Okay. Or it's on my stand-up material later too, okay? Go with this. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna start us off by explaining broadly a little bit more about what the Rain Ready program is, what kind of projects you can do around your home to help better protect it from stormwater runoff and protect our watersheds and build some climate resiliency. And Stephan will jump in to talk a little bit more about the Roy G.Hobbs Rain Garden and that process. So we're really going to be talking a lot today about stormwater. And stormwater is our rainfall, our snow melt, anything really that's falling from the sky, landing on the ground, and eventually runs off into a waterway or a creek. Infiltration, that's something we're really trying to encourage. We really want people to increase the amount of infiltration that they are encouraging on their property to help mitigate the impacts of this stormwater on our natural environment as well as your own property. We're going to be doing so by encouraging the installation of permeable surfaces. There's going to be softscapes, hardscapes, things that again allow for the easy infiltration of stormwater into the ground to mitigate the impact of those impermeable surfaces that we often see out there. We're thinking roofs, we're thinking driveways, stuff like that water just can't get through, and it interrupts that sort of natural water cycle. Because again, what is the problem with stormwater? Well, the main thing is that a lot of stormwater systems in older parts of Ottawa, we're thinking places built pre-1980, really lack what we consider modern stormwater infrastructure. Stuff like wet ponds, comprehensive drainage plans. I mean, in the neighborhood around here, they don't even have curbs. So, the negative impacts of that means that when water falls or rain falls, it's kind of going everywhere. So this is leading to a lot of runoff entering the creeks. Here in Orleans, we're talking a lot of the eastern sub-watersheds, the smaller tributaries that flow through here, the Ottawa River. This runoff carries a lot of pollutants, carries salt, it carries things that damage the health of those ecosystems, and then likewise poor stormwater management around your own home can lead to damage to your foundation, damage to your property, and impacts to your neighbors as well. And these problems are only going to get compounded by the increasing frequency and intensity of rainfall events as a result of climate change. Because when we zoom out, again, we look at a place like Orleans, how it existed before it was mostly developed, green spaces, fields, forests that were able to absorb this water. But now we kind of fast forward to today. Again, we've introduced a lot of hard surfaces. We've got a highway, we've got shopping centers, we have lots of parking. These are places where that water is falling. It's going into those waterways. As you can see here, these green and red lines, a little harder to see right now, but it's eventually making its way into the small waterways, into the Ottawa River. So again, we're really trying to positively impact the health of that waterway and build that climate resiliency by getting rain ready with some projects for your home. So the nice bit about you living on here in Orleans is that you are eligible for $5,000 in rebates for the installation of practices that can help improve infiltration and permeability of your property. Again, it's up to $5,000, and this is divided into kind of 5 different categories. We've got downspout redirections, rain gardens, soak-away pits, permeable pavements, and certified landscape design. You can kind of mix and match these as you choose, as it suits the unique needs of your property, up until you meet that $5,000 maximum. And I'll talk a little bit more about what each of these projects are in a moment after this. Again, to be eligible, you just have to live in a priority retrofit area. We've covered that. This is one of those areas. And then you have to either work with a Fusion Landscape Professional certified contractor, a Concrete Masonry and Hardscape Associate certified contractor, complete a home assessment. This is a legacy thing. Some of you might have done this. EnviroCentre used to offer this to individual homeowners, so maybe one of you have that. That is something you could still use. Or complete e-learning. There are a couple of these projects you could take on yourself. You can self-certify using e-learning and then go about getting some of the rebates that way. So what is that Fusion Landscape Professional I just mentioned? Well, that's kind of what a lot of these ideas are rooted in. So this is kind of a nice combination of horticulture and hydrology that focuses on projects that help with that infiltration of stormwater. So Fusion Landscape certified professionals, or someone you might work with, are specifically trained in the installation of those projects I mentioned on the last slide. Likewise, those CMHA, those concrete masonry individuals, are trained specifically in permeable hardscape. So they're another great resource if you're looking for professional help. So they're going to be kind of your go-to resource in creating beautiful landscapes that also help reduce flooding if you want to opt to get some professional assistance while you're doing. So redirecting downspouts. This is one of the easiest things you can do around your property, and one of the things that can have the biggest impacts, and is also one of the most affordable. So just rethink how runoff is managed from your roof onto your property. So again, you can go outside, you can have a look at those downspouts, see where they're going, see where that water is being ultimately directed. A lot of people just disperse it right onto the driveway. Just simply move it over to your lawn. You can extend it as well. Ideally up to 3 meters is what we recommend. Utilizing dry creek beds, utilizing, you have a nice example here as well of a rain chain. So that's also a way that you can slow down the flow first before you redirect it away. You can also combine these with rainwater harvesting to really maximize the benefits. So get a couple of rain barrels, even an underground cistern, because you can also then store this water and use it for later. One of the other things you can implement, talked about, soak-away pits and infiltration trenches. So if you want to take your downspout redirection to the next level, this is basically an underground chamber that is designed to hold and retain that water until it is able to be absorbed into the ground. So it essentially is a pit that you dig into the ground, you fill it full of clear stone, clear wash stone, and then you wrap it in a geotextile fabric. So this helps it retain the moisture within, create a lot of space for it, and then get absorbed down into the ground. You can also combine it with more structured elements. These are sometimes called like aqua blocks or stormwater crates, and these create a little bit more of a stabilized engineered solution that can add even more capacity to your soak-away pit or your infiltration trench. So again, you can see kind of example here, you can direct stuff to them using underground pipes or drains. This one right here, an example on the left, it is managing runoff from sort of like the back half of that person's house. You can see, it's not too big right there. The image in the middle, again, is a soak-away pit that is managing runoff from 3 separate homes, all redirected to a single soak-away pit right there in the front. And then kind of this last image from another property, you can see you can just cover it with lawn. You can also put these underneath gardens, underneath hard surfaces. That's just going to really influence what kind of construction you ultimately choose to do with the soak-away pit. Permeable hardscapes. So traditional asphalt, Doesn't take much to notice that it is impermeable. Water hits it, it runs off, and again, it's one of our big contributors to the negative impacts of stormwater runoff in our watersheds. So there's a lot of new modern permeable hardscape solutions that you can now apply to your driveways, your walkways, your patios, any hard surface that you're utilizing. So it kind of comes in two forms. We've got permeable pavements, that is kind of the red and the black ones here. So these just use, they're very similar to regular asphalt. They're just using larger, fine material to create void spaces that water can just run through and then into sort of the underground reservoir that you're going to build one of these. And I've got a nice cross section on the next slide. So you can see an example of that. So again, it's kind of similar to a soakaway pit in the sense that you're creating a chamber underneath your driveway that can store this stormwater until it can be safely absorbed by the groundwater table. One of the things to note about this solution is it is one of the most expensive that you could implement around your property. It does have higher upfront costs. It kind of costs about twice as much as just doing asphalt. So there's always something to consider, but it does have improved performance because these surfaces are designed with water in mind. They're less susceptible to cracking and heaving from the freeze-thaw cycle. That void space also creates a higher ambient temperature, contributing to snow melt, reducing winter maintenance. And with regards to your winter maintenance, you don't have to change anything about it. You can shovel on these, you can snow blow on these if you have snow clearing services. Likewise, they can continue to clean these or clear these off without any kind of modifications. The other one I did forget to mention is when you see the interlock there is also permeable interlock is the other option these come in. These have a lower porosity, but they might work more for whatever aesthetic reason you're trying to install them. But you can sort of mix and match these as you see fit, just trying to achieve what you want out of your project and also the benefits for stormwater infiltration. So again, this right here is a nice little cross-section of what permeable pavement looks like underneath of it. So in those pictures, we were just seeing that top layer right there. But underneath of it are varying layers of larger and larger fill material that is, again, creating that void space, that storage capacity for stormwater underneath of this. The city itself has just put a really great example of something that looks just like this out in the West End at the Carlingwood Library. So if you're ever way out there at the giant Canadian Tire and you're thinking you want to look at a parking lot, just go behind it and you can check out one in action. We pour some water on it. You can also see here there is a under drain. That's kind of an optional thing. You don't have to put one in, but if you're kind of getting like a lot of storm water on your property and you're concerned about excess water in here, you can also pipe it to another safe place to store it. So, or you can also, a lot of people will also redirect their downspouts to drain underneath of their driveway now once they put that in. So again, it gives you a lot of options with regards to utilizing that new storage capacity that you have. You can also utilize it in combination with just regular asphalt. So if you're like, I don't want to do my whole driveway, I've got one problem area with regards to ponding or flooding, or this is where a lot of water comes in, you can also kind of look to doing like half the driveway and combining it with a regular asphalt. So again, there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of firms who now implement this stuff in the city, so really catching on. And then rain gardens. This is our really fun softscape solution, what we put out front of the community center last year. And these are designed to capture and retain stormwater, again, at the end of a downspout, or you can even redirect a sump pump to it if you have one of those in your home. So they are a bowl-shaped garden that is designed to capture and then facilitate the infiltration of that stormwater. You will typically amend the soils with a mix of sand and compost to encourage good infiltration. It is, of course, something especially important out on this side of town where there are large concentrations of clay, so something definitely to consider. I know we've had to do, we did big soil amendments with regards to this rain garden and the one at Pierre Rock. So you're going to kind of amend soil down to about 30 centimeters into the ground, replace it with that aforementioned kind of sand compost mix, and then finalize it with that bowl shape. So there are a lot of diverse design and planting options. Again, as long as you have that bowl shape, as long as you're retaining that stormwater, you can design it kind of any way you want with either low plants, larger plants, a greater incidence of rock, if that's something you want to do, kind of a dry creek bed again. And it is especially ideal to be utilizing native plants when you're doing this, because plants, first and foremost, are vital to the function of the rain garden. Aside from that soil soil infiltration of the water, they're going to be absorbing the vast majority of the stormwater that you're directing to it. And native plants are best suited to the conditions that you're going to be creating with the rain garden. Ideally, you're not going to be going out there and watering this thing. It's only going to be maintained by natural rainfall cycles. So they're going to have to be able to tolerate periods of drought and also periods of inundation. And again, native plants are well suited to those conditions. We've got some really great examples right here. We've got some bee balm, we've got false sunflower, we've got Joe Pye weed, aster. Again, these are really, really great options for your rain garden because they can soak up a lot of rainwater. And you're going to be planting these in your garden based on their preferences to those conditions. So plants that really love moist soils, you're going to plant in the middle of that garden where the stormwater is being initially deposited into it. And those that, again, are a little bit more drought tolerant are going to be placed at the edge of your garden because, again, they're going to go for longer periods without getting as much water. The other kind of co-benefits too is that, well, again, aesthetics. Whose house isn't going to look a lot better with flowers out front of it? And improving biodiversity. Again, going with native plants, we're going to help birds, we're going to help bees, we're going to help improve the biodiversity of our neighborhoods by putting in native plants in our rain gardens. So with that, I'll transition it over to Stephan for a bit to talk a little bit more about the Roy G.Hobbs rain garden we put in.
Testing? Yes, okay, perfect. Excuse me. So yeah, like Connor said, I'll be speaking a little bit about the process of from how we chose this location, how we choose locations for the demonstration rain gardens, right through to the installation of the rain garden. So what we're looking for these demonstration rain garden locations, one is be in a priority area within the city of Ottawa, so that enables anyone within that community to see this demonstration rain garden and be able to install them at their home and access those rebates. So we're looking for a medium-sized building, something that could resemble a home, something you could see this rain garden and imagine it at your own home. So we don't want this huge building with a gigantic rain garden that seems undoable at your own home. We're looking for a pitched roof with eaves troughs, lots of permeable space to work with, and that's very visible. So walk by traffic, drive by traffic. Again, demonstration rain garden. We want it to be demonstrated out there for everyone to see. The other thing we're looking for is a strong community association, the building being a community hub. Like, for example, there's the Seniors Club here, which is a great fit. It just has a built-in, community ready to go and be excited about the project. So once we found, a suitable location, we reach out to the community within that location and kind of sell them on the project. Free rain garden. Usually it's a pretty easy sell. You never know, but we've had really great feedback from everyone we spoke to. But once we get the green light from the community within, we'll check to make sure we can dig there. So we'll do a locate. For those of you who don't know what a locate is, basically you would go on to OntarioOneCall.ca website and just check to make sure there's no gas lines or electric wires or any hazard to digging there. And once we get the okay from that, everyone's safe, everyone's okay to dig. We actually worked with a Fusion landscape professional. He spoke to briefly before, so someone who can plan out a rain garden. We worked with Mary from Green. I'm really bad with names of organization. Living Green Landscaping, and we've worked with her in the past as well. And she is really great. Just works her magic. We actually have some examples of the rain garden plan that she made. For another location, but very similar. He's thought of everything, people. So she plans out, what plants are going to be there. She takes in consideration the location compared to where the building is, where the walking traffic will be. She considers, the colors of the plants, when they bloom. Obviously, all native plants, but there's a lot of wiggle room within there to choose certain ones. And she takes all that information, makes a great plan for us like this. So we know what we're doing. We know where it's going to be a great asset to the community. And from there, we plan out basically a planting day. So we work with the community and make sure that they're able to attend, and we're able to attend. We're free. And we make it kind of a whole communal event. So a big part of the rain garden portion of this program is really encouraging community ownership over the rain garden. So for years, often we get kids who are planting these plants, and when they're older, they're going to point at it to their kids and be like, "I helped plant that," kind of thing. So it's more than just a rain garden. It's kind of like a whole communal thing. So from there, we basically pre-dig the location. We have hand dug in the past. It was a pretty busy year last year, so we decided to machine dig and sometimes it can take quite a bit. We're a little short for time, so decided to machine dig it ahead of time. And then once the day of comes, again, we've planned a planting day. We have food, drinks, shade, place to sit. We encourage people to come just to hang out and speak about plants. We like to nerd out about that kind of stuff. Or just come and eat our food, that's fine too. Or plant if you'd like. It's really just about getting people together and experiencing the whole process. So it's a lot of fun. It's one of the best days of our year is kind of getting together to plant these things. So lots of fun. And in the morning, our Fusion Landscape professional would come by and just place all the plants. So she put a lot of thought and effort into where these plants are. The thirstier plants are closer to the outflow of the downspout, just because it's going to get a lot more influx of water. And she doesn't want us messing up her plans. We want to get it right. So she's great about that, coming early and placing everything. And then again, we just plant all of these plants along with the community, and just have a pretty good time. So that's the whole kind of process. Something that you can replicate at home. Again, you spoke to the e-learning courses, so there's no assessments as of this year, but it is something you can kind of learn yourself and replicate at home, either with the help of a Fusion Landscape professional or by yourself if you're like a green thumb and ready to plant some plants and use some, what do they call it? Elbow grease. I was going to say shoulder grease. So that's kind of the thought process from the start to the end, how we pick locations. We're going to be doing more in the future in all likelihood. So if you know of another location somewhere else in the city, we can add it to the list and see if it checks all the checks and add it to a possible location in the future.
Thanks, Stephan. So outside of those rebates, we've talked about a couple other offerings that Rain Ottawa has for residents if they want to kind of make the most of improving their stormwater management. So again, those aforementioned e-learning courses, so we do have 4 of those focusing on the concepts of kind of introduction to, again, the bigger story about what is stormwater management, why is the city motivating us to do this, what do we ultimately want to achieve, and again, it is a more sustainable and more effectively managed stormwater situation within our city. And then we've got 3 courses focusing on 3 projects that are, again, ones that we believe that you can take on yourself and likewise carry forward into applying for those rebates. So it's downspout redirections, rain gardens, and soakaway pits and infiltration trenches. Each of these courses is about 45 minutes long, instructional, intended to be kind of step-by-step guides into how these are supposed to function, how you can put one in yourself around your property. Some exciting news too, these are going to be getting a full refresh later this year, so there is going to be some better content on there, improved learning experience, so look for those in the spring sometime. We'll be transitioning to that, and there will be an announcement about that online as well. And then assessment, so we do kind of still have one assessment offering out there that is new, starting last year. I'll briefly mention it, and then Stephan, if you want to say anything else about it, but if you live within a condo community, we are offering complex-wide stormwater assessments. These are intended, again, to help with the identification of kind of common area solutions and larger kind of projects that can be implemented at scale in these communities, which previously, we've been kind of just been seeing lower uptake, but also we're not being kind of properly served by the existing program. So when you book a condo assessment, Stephan or another member of EnviroCentre will come to the property, look at the various unit types that you have, but also be looking at the parking lots or driveways or private laneways, whatever kind of the specific situation is, and provide recommendations for ways you can improve the stormwater management and infiltration of the entire property. The other intention of this as well is that later this year, we are going to be launching a new rebate stream as well, specific to multi-unit residential buildings. So not just condominiums, but also cooperative housing, affordable housing, and rental properties. So again, this is to improve uptake. So if you're living in any one of those properties, or you know someone who is, or manages, or whatever, again, this is an opportunity coming up for them to also be able to better take advantage of this program. You can sign up anytime, though, for one of those stormwater assessments. Again, if you live within a condo or co-op community, on the program webpage at ottawa.ca/rain, there's a link to an intake form right there, and Stephan will be able to kind of guide you through that process after that. Once it is over, the association will receive a final report outlining those recommendations. So just want to give kind of a really quick overview as well of what that rebate process is. So we talked about, again, that eligibility, what's the money you can get, but what should you really expect if you want to ultimately move forward with one of those rebate applications. So again, you're going to verify that geographic eligibility. Very easy where we are right now. It's pretty much a yes. Then you're going to get a quote from a professional, either FLP or CMHA, or complete e-learning, or if you have one of those other legacy home assessments that are provided as single-family homes, you can use one of those. You only need one. Some people do all three. You don't have to do that. You just have to do one of these. Then you're going to fill out and submit an application on ottawa.ca/rain. You're going to wait for approval. Once you got approval, you're going to install your project. Once it is complete, you will submit a claim form to the city. This will get reviewed, ideally approved, and then you'll get your rebate in the mail after that. So we've tried to make this a pretty painless process. Again, this is just the overview of the eligibility area. Everything orange is eligible. This whole area is orange. So nice and easy. And with that, again, stay up to date by going to ottawa.ca/rain. You can also subscribe to the city's climate change newsletter. That's where a lot of information about Rain Ready gets disseminated. Likewise, always sharing this information with your local councillor. So I know Councillor Dudas was here earlier. She's always been really great about sharing out this information. Likewise, we do have some social media pages as well dedicated to Rain Ready. So if you can't get enough of this content, definitely follow us on there. We're always kind of posting nice little tips and tricks and more info about things you can do around your property to get it rain ready. And with that, we can move on to the question period if anybody has any.
I know we had another microphone somewhere, right? Oh, you have it.
Ready to go, yeah.
Thank you. That was really good talk. Is it on? Can you hear me?
I just turn up the volume on it.
How's that?
I can hear you. I can hear you anyways. It's not that big of a room.
Do you guys have any your locations planned for next year?
No, we haven't identified those yet. So
Not yet. So if you have any thoughts on some place that could be good, again, in a priority area, pitched roof, eaves troughs, permeable space.
And like public space, obviously, like does it have to be City of Ottawa?
it doesn't necessarily have to be a City of Ottawa property, but any kind of community center, church building, something like that.
Okay,
Any
could be a
kind of
church.
communal area, communal
Good to
space where
know.
we can show this off and add something new to the community.
I'm very new to this stuff. Why is it better to get the land to absorb the water rather than directing it into the river?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Sure, yeah. So it's because basically these waterways are kind of overloaded with the amount of runoff that's being generated. So when you think of it in like a natural kind of environment, about 80% of the water is infiltrated, 20% of it about runs off. In a built up area like this, you end up with more like 50-60% of it turns into runoff, only 40% of it is being absorbed. So that excess runoff is overwhelming the local tributaries. It's contributing to erosion, poor water quality, things like that, downstream habitat degradation. So they just aren't, our natural assets aren't able to absorb the amount of stormwater that is being generated.
It also replenishes the water table as well, and
Yeah, that's the other part too. It helps with groundwater recharge and help getting more water back into the ground locally.
Great question. Yes. I think we
Oh, yep.
I don't know if you mentioned this, so sorry if you did, but is that why this is a priority area? Because it's like built up and we're close to the river, or what is
Yeah.
the reason?
Yeah, that's correct. So I realized I missed some of the motivations at the start there about why are we doing this anyways. So essentially, because these kind of older neighborhoods were built without modern stormwater infrastructure, we need to retrofit this stuff into people's private properties. There isn't space for us to put in that modern infrastructure. There isn't the room for us to put in the wet ponds that are needed. So therefore, it's kind of a team solution. We're going to be able to do some stuff on the city side, putting in a rain garden here, doing some right-of-way improvements, but we also need to kind of be encouraging thousands of these other projects on people's private properties, because there just isn't the capacity within the system to absorb the amount of stormwater being generated now and into the future. So yeah, it is the age of this community, and is likewise its proximity to smaller waterways that therefore feed into the larger river.
A lot of the properties around here, they either share front yards or they share driveways. And
Yep.
maybe a silly question, but with the permeable driveway, could you do like half of it if your neighbor is not
Yep.
on board?
Yeah, people have done that who have shared driveways. They'll just do half of it.
I think if your neighbor's also doing it, it's probably a little less expensive just because you're
Yeah, alternatively,
you're combining.
if you decide to coordinate the work, because you're two separate properties, you would likewise both be eligible for the rebates separately, so there could be an opportunity to better offset those costs, but if they don't wanna participate, you can likewise just do it on your own.
So, just regarding one of the examples that came up was a church.
Sure.
So in a case like that, would that be the church having to pay for it, or would it be?
It's completely free. So the rain garden, like the example we put in here, it's no cost. It's part of the program. Kind of be spreading the word, making a demonstration, like I said, for the local community. So there is no cost whatsoever to the community.
Cool. I can recommend that to somebody then.
Yeah, that helps for sure.
Is there signage that y'all put out to
Yes.
give information and educate?
Has this one come up? Yeah.
I don't know, I believe it
There-
might be out there, so I
If
can
it's
tell
not
in the
out
dark
there,
in the snow.
yeah.
but
Yeah.
There might be a
Yeah.
When
nice.
it melts on the.
There's on the bulletin board when people
Okay.
walk in.
I believe there will be like an actual post
Oh,
with
okay.
that shows, the levels of a rain garden, what goes in, why it's absorbing, how to install it at home, that kind of thing. So it gives you like a view of the sub-ground, like the magic that's happening underneath the ground. We've installed them at, I'm not sure, do you know if we installed it at this one yet? I just took over this program, so I was, I don't think so.
There is a sign out, if you go to the other rain garden in this community in Pierre Rock Park, there
Oh,
is
yeah.
one of those signs there.
If you can-
And a similar sign will be installed here at some point again, unless it's out there right now.
It's
Maybe
like a
very
big placard.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's nice.
big
Yeah.
sturdy sign for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, so, yep, go ahead.
More of a technical question. The soakaway pits, how deep are they they're generally?
Yeah, you'll kind of dig down about kind of 4 to 5 feet. And then, yeah, ideally you're going to be covering it with about a foot of soil. You might not have to go that deep because you can also just go wide with them. It's really just going to depend on your soil conditions and what kind of infiltration you've got going on and the different layers of it. So, and the amount of water that you're directing towards it.
They're usually about, just to give an example, it's about 4 meters from a foundation, so it's a little bit more space as well, so it's not near your foundation.
Do y'all know how many are not approved or so each year?
Like applications to the
Yeah.
program? I mean,
Or most approved?
most are approved.
Okay.
I mean, we'll definitely work with you in order to make it a successful application. We don't want to say no.
Yeah.
We want to help get these in the ground, so we'll definitely work with you to make it a successful one.
Do you know if it's making a difference yet, the program?
I mean, we've had really great uptake. I mean,
Oh, good.
we just finished kind of the 4th year of the program. We've successfully seen over 500 projects get installed and close to
Awesome.
250 applications. So we're starting to get the uptake. We're starting to scale up. So again, we kind of have like 50-year goals at tens of thousands. So we're starting to head in the right direction. So reception has been positive, though.
And we're hoping the multi-unit inclusion, including full communities all at once, if we can get them to do larger scale projects, hopefully that will really scale up the program.
For sure.
And you're removing the barriers, like the fusion, hiring the landscape architects and stuff was quite costly, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think removing some of those barriers for people helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the motivations for bringing in the e-learning component, was that there are some things that you can take on yourself with a little bit of knowledge and landscaping skill that you don't necessarily need an expert to come into.
A little shoulder grease, like I said.
Again, shoulder grease, whatever it is, that's what you need.
Do you have some some layouts of gardens with native plants that people could just kind of grab and go with?
Yeah, we do have, I don't know if there's any here right now. I think one of them, we did have a draft sample plan also made up by Mary that anybody can kind of take and kind of rejig for their specific property. Yeah, because exactly, that's been one of our more popular resources.
Where does Mary source her plants?
So most of the landscapers, there's landscape supply ones I think, but a great source for kind of like yourself as like a consumer. I mean the Wildflower Seed Library is a great resource for new seeds to start off. Or you can also go to Richie's Feed and Seed. They have a larger native plant selection now. There's another home-based business called The Cultivated Art, and Vanya likewise. They also sell native plants. And another great resource is out in Kentville at the Ferguson Tree Nursery. They'll do spring and fall public sales for a couple of weekends. So those are all really great places to go if you're looking to get some native plants.
And if you are interested in making, if you're installing your own rain garden, if you're willing to sow your own seeds, like you mentioned, the Ottawa Wildflower Seed Library, you can get seeds from them later. I believe their winter thing is all done, but if you're able to source your own seeds, you can save some money that way instead of buying full plants. And the rebates aren't based on cost, they're based on the area of impermeable space. So you can save money on flowers and still apply for the same rebate. So yeah.
Can you just explain that again?
Yeah.
So how does the rebate work?
So the rebate is basically based on so let's say you have a section of roof that's flowing into the rain garden. The size of the section of roof is how the rebate is calculated.
Oh.
So, if you're paying full price for fully grown plants, or you're getting plants and growing them yourself for free, you're still gonna be able to apply
So it's
for
not,
it.
you don't have to show a receipt.
No, so you did the downspout redirection. That is receipt based, so it's more cost based.
Yeah.
Okay.
So glad you bring it up actually. So I'll just briefly then. So this is like 75% rebate of eligible expenses, and that is like labor, that's materials, that's any kind of ground modifications you got to make. These three are all area based, so it's based on the final size of the installed asset. So this one's $75 a square meter. This is $10 per meter square of area directed to it, so the roof area. So
I mixed them up. So the soakaway pit is the roof area, the rain garden is the size of the rain garden, but the size of the rain garden is based on the area, so the roof size.
So when you're putting in a rain garden, you generally want it to be between 10 and 20% of the area that is being drained to it. This is kind of the ideal sizing. You want, if you have good infiltration, you want to aim more towards the 10% side. If you have poor infiltration, more towards the 20% side.
A lot of poor infiltration in this area. There's a lot of clay soil, so I'm sure you probably lean towards. But that's where a soil, if you take a soil sample, you can figure out kind of what your soil is made of.
Yeah. And so there is a full applicant guide on ottawa.ca/rain that goes through that kind of exact math calculation. So don't worry if you missed it right now. And then likewise, permeable pavements is $50 per square meter of final installed area. And then this is just, if you work with a professional, this is just a $500 rebate for their design services.
Okay, perfect.
Could you do one project like this year, get say 750, and then in 2 or 3 years do another one?
Yep. You can apply as many times as you want until you hit that $5,000 maximum.
Right.
So I calculate the size kind of thing. I do it through Google Maps. You zoom in on your roof, and if you right click, there's actually a measure function, and you just click the four corners of your roof, and it gives you a pretty close estimation of the area. So if you make a box, it will calculate
Right.
the area within it,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the
You're talking about the whole house roof, because you've got little roofs.
yeah. So let's say you have one downspout that's servicing like this portion of the roof, and you're
Right.
putting a rain garden here. It would just be that portion of the roof. So you kind of have to. Usually, if you walk around your home and just kind of look, you can kind of see how your
Right.
eaves troughs are divided. So it takes a little bit of looking around.
Yeah.
But yeah, Google Maps is a great. I've found it gives you a pretty accurate number.
Can someone come check?
I mean, if you send me an email, if you send me an email, I could Google Maps.
All right.
And,
Yeah, we're looking at a couple of options to maybe provide a little bit more of like a virtual consultation
Right.
through EnviroCentre this year. So that's something that I'll maybe have up and running later in spring.
Is that something that you think would be, because we're in the planning phase, is that something that you think would be pretty helpful? Just like a
Yeah.
30-minute look at your home and give you ideas and
Yeah.
walk through them? Yeah.
I think understanding exactly what the parameters are,
Yeah.
makes it
Mhm.
easier for me to decide how much I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure. Awesome.
The other thing that might be handy to have on the site would be something where you can put in some of that information and it'll do the trigonometry for you to figure out the actual
Yeah.
surface area of the roof.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Yeah, we're looking at those other options to
Yeah.
improve that kind of tool portion online for people. Because yeah, that guidance is something that just to help you get to that next step of
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
exactly.
So if I'm doing an example and the runoff goes next to my driveway, in between my neighbor's house and mine, it goes all the way down my driveway to
Mhm.
the ground, not on the cement because you can make it go on the grass to go down. Does that grass piece, I can do that whole grass area that goes all the way down, and that counts towards the total surface area? Is that how that works?
With regards to
Like
If I were to do a
rain
rain garden.
sure, yes.
Okay.
So if you put so if you redirected the downspout to that grassy strip
Yeah.
and you sized it, whatever your kind of calculation was, that would be what you would get the rebate for. So you went say let's say it's like a 7 square meter rain garden you end up with, kind of putting in there. Then you're gonna get, what did I pick? Okay, let's say it's 10, so the math is way easier for me. Say you put in a 10 square meter rain garden, you get $750 back for that.
Okay.
And you don't need to provide receipts or anything, you just have to be kind of taking photos of the process, so before, during, and after pictures, showing the excavation, showing any amendments that you make, showing the final plantings, and then you're just submitting that.
And applying before you start is also a
Okay.
important thing. Just go on ottawa.ca/rain and just start the application process. Just ask you some questions. Just lets us know that you're starting, so you can get some before pictures.
Are there any other programs like Better Homes Ottawa that could help offset some of the costs to make it more accessible?
That's almost like a planted question that I would do. Yeah, so the city does have a couple other programs that are worth mentioning that you can take advantage of. So the Better Homes Ottawa program is a fixed rate loan program. I can't remember what the exact number is, but anyways,
It's changed.
it's $20,000.
It's somewhere around there.
Anyways, it's in the 5 figures that you can get to apply towards energy efficiency or resiliency improvements for your home. So, and you can apply to both Rain Ready and Better Homes. So, for example, if you want to do a permeable pavement driveway, you can utilize Better Homes to get some fixed rate loan funding for that portion, plus get the rebate for some of it as well.
It's very low.
I think, it's a very low interest rate, and it is applied to the property, not yourself as an individual. So if you sell the home, whoever purchased the home is then now going to be responsible for paying back the loan. It's going to come through the property taxes. And it is, so it's a very favorable one. Another program worth looking into as well, if you're experiencing any kind of basement flooding, need a sump pump or a backwater valve, the city also has the Residential Protective Plumbing Program. So this provides rebates for the installation of protective plumbing measures within your home. So Rain Ready is kind of outside the home solution. Our protective plumbing program is an inside the home solution as well. That is worth looking into.
And you said the sump pump could run out to
Yeah,
rain garden,
exactly.
that's-
So if you're putting a sump pump, you can redirect that whatever you capture in there to a rain garden as well.
It's kind of like an adjacent comment, but I live on a corner and there's a certain time of the year where everyone's emptying their pools. And all the water's running off to the downspout. What could you do for something like that? Obviously, this is probably not in scope, but that's also a seasonal thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never kind of had that question before, so I'll have to kind of take that one away.
Yeah, think about it. I'll send a photo.
Yeah, maybe
Fall.
or fold in the shell and
When they start.
pass it on.
Yeah, when they start flooding away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, you can also, you can send an email to rain@ottawa.ca as well, kind of outlining that, and I can see what other people have to say about it.
Any other questions?
Nadia? Oh,
No, I think maybe we're done, or?
Yeah. We've answered all the questions. No questions left.
fantastic
Yeah.
presentation.
Thank you.
So thank you, Stephan and Connor, for coming out here and in the cold and dark and probably your evening off. But yeah, this was great. It was really informative, and we're filming for YouTube, so the people that couldn't make it are going to get a chance to
On YouTube.
see what you have to say.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
So is the YouTube video going to be shared to the